Hello again, this is Dr. Lindsay. And in this video, we're going to go over the causes of inflation. It's going to be a relatively short video because I want to finish up here and go for a swim at the beach. There's a very famous quote by Milton Friedman, who got the Nobel Prize in economics. And he said, inflation is always and everywhere a monetary phenomenon. Essentially, it's money that causes inflation, and really nothing else. And not just paper money, what we call fiat money, that's not backed up by anything. In Europe, where they were trading gold and silver, after they discovered the New World and they found a lot of gold, well, they stole a lot of gold and silver from the Indians and in South America, Central America, took it back to Europe. They had a lot more gold and silver there that they were using as currency for trading. And as a result, there was inflation. Prices went up in Europe because there was just a lot more money available for spending. Or you can think of it as supply and demand with gold. A lot more supply of gold and silver brings down the prices of gold and silver. And it means it's worth less, so you have to have more of it to buy something. I'm going to show you a couple graphs that Milton Friedman came up with. He ran a little study here. And he showed the relationship between money and prices in the United States. So the solid line there was the amount of money. And the dotted line there is a consumer price index, which is a measure of prices that we'll go over later on in this module. And it showed that there was a close correlation between the two for those years, 1964 to 1978. Then he did the same thing with Germany. Looked at the amount of money that they were printing and the consumer price index, close correlation. Did the same thing with UK. You can see here, close correlation. Once again, Japan, same time period, same type of graph. And my favorite here is Brazil, where the money supply there went up by about a factor of 35, and prices went up by about a factor of 35 also. Convincing argument here that money has a lot to do with prices. Now, of course, just because two things are correlated doesn't mean one causes the other necessarily, but some work was done later showing, yeah, it is the amount of money that causes prices to go up, not the other way around. Now, lately, in the last 20 years or so, this relationship has broken down. This close relationship between money supply and prices has been very poor if you were to run a regression on the two. There's a number of reasons for it, but some people think, oh, now the link is broken here. We can print all the money we want to and prices aren't going to go up. But they're wrong. Eventually, increases in the money supply, if you do it too much, do lead to inflation. This is a graph that shows US inflation going back to the 1890s. And every decade is plotted here, where the growth of the money supply is on the horizontal axis and the inflation rate is on the vertical axis. And you can see if you were to run a regression through here, it's going to be upward sloping, something like that, without a doubt. So we go back over a longer period of time and look at the relationship between money and prices, and we'll definitely find this association. Even though if we look at this point here and this point here, the 1990s and the 2000s, and lately, the last 10 years or so, money supply has been growing rapidly, and we haven't been seeing the inflation. And there was an economist that recently said that is a $64,000 question. Why haven't we seen the inflation? There's some other things going on that we're not going to get into, but that's not going to last forever. And this inflation will eventually be showing up. Here's another graph I want to show you. This is over the last, let's see, 2000 to 2010. So it's just a 10-year period, but it has all the countries in the world and shows what their money supply was moving at, the growth of their money supply versus the inflation in their countries. And if you run a regression, you'll see the same kind of thing. It's upward sloping. So even during that decade when the US was printing money and not seeing the inflation, it doesn't mean this relationship between the two is broken down. More money means higher prices eventually. And as Friedman said, it usually takes about 1.5 to 2 years before it starts showing up. We haven't seen a lot happen in the last 10 years or so. The money supply has been expanding very rapidly. We haven't seen the inflation yet, but it does seem like it's right around the corner. And a lot of people do feel like it's right around the corner because of the large increases in the money supply that have been going on the last 10 years in the US. Okay. That's going to end this video so I can head down to the beach and go for a swim.